Part 1. Crossing the line. There's a moment in life when numbers stop being just numbers. When you cross the $100,000 mark, it feels like stepping into a different world. It's not about the bills in your wallet or the digits in your bank account. It's about the weight of what that number represents. Think about it. At $10,000, you're still hustling, still proving to yourself that you can make money. At $50,000, you're surviving, covering expenses, maybe saving a little, but still feeling the pressure of every decision. But at $100,000, something shifts. You realize the game isn't about survival anymore. It's about strategy. Crossing that line is like walking through a door you didn't even know existed. Suddenly, you're not just playing defense against bills, debts, and emergencies. You're playing offense. You're thinking about opportunities, investments, and growth. The fear of not enough starts to fade, replaced by the question, what's next? It's not about luxury. It's not about showing off. It's about breathing differently. It's about waking up and knowing you're not one paycheck away from disaster. That's the real change. And here's the truth. $100,000 doesn't make you rich, but it makes you secure enough to think clearly. It gives you space to plan, to dream, to take risks you couldn't afford before. It's the line between surviving and living. Part 2. The mindset shift. Money doesn't just change your bank account. It changes your mind. Before $100,000, every decision feels heavy. You're counting bills, checking your balance twice, hesitating before buying something simple. Even small choices carry weight because you know one wrong move could throw everything off. That's the mindset of scarcity. Living in constant calculation, always asking, can I afford this? But after $100,000, the question changes. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, is this worth it? That's the real shift. It's not about whether you can pay for something. It's about whether it adds value to your life. Think about it. Before, you might spend hours comparing prices, chasing discounts, worrying about every dollar. After $100,000, you realize time is more valuable than money. You'd rather pay a little extra and save your energy. You'd rather invest in convenience, in experiences, in things that free your mind. This shift is subtle but powerful. It's the difference between surviving and living. It's the moment you stop playing defense and start playing offense. You're no longer trapped in the cycle of scarcity. You begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles. And here's the truth. The mindset shift isn't about arrogance. It's about clarity. When you're not drowning in worry, you think differently. You plan differently. You dream differently. You start to ask bigger questions. What do I actually want? Where do I want to go? How can I make this money work for me instead of me working for it? That's why the game changes. Because once your mind is free from the constant stress of survival, you unlock creativity, ambition, and vision. You stop chasing pennies and start building a future. Part 3. Freedom in small things. Freedom doesn't start with mansions or luxury cars. It starts with the small things. When you cross the $100,000 mark, the first taste of freedom comes in everyday decisions. It's ordering food without checking the price. It's saying yes to a weekend trip without guilt. It's buying a gift for someone you love without calculating how it will affect your budget. Before $100,000, every choice feels like a trade-off. If you go out to dinner, maybe you can't buy that new pair of shoes. If you take a short trip, maybe you'll struggle with bills next month. Life feels like a constant balancing act, where joy is measured against survival. But after $100,000, those small joys stop being dangerous. They become possible. You don't have to sacrifice happiness for stability anymore. You can have both. And that's where freedom begins. It's not about extravagance. It's about peace of mind. It's about sleeping better because you know one emergency won't destroy you. It's about walking into a store and choosing what you want, not just what you can afford. This freedom in small things changes how you live. You laugh more. You stress less. You stop obsessing over pennies and start enjoying moments. And those moments, the coffee with a friend, the spontaneous dinner, the trip you didn't plan, they remind you why you worked so hard in the first place. The truth is $100,000 doesn't buy happiness, but it buys space. Space to breathe, to enjoy, to live without fear. And that space is priceless. Part 4, the social game. Here's the part nobody tells you. Money doesn't just change your life, it changes how people see you. When you cross the $100,000 line, the reactions around you start to shift. Friends notice, family notices. Some cheer for you, others envy you. Suddenly, you're not just trying anymore, you're making it. And that label changes the way people look at you. Before $100,000, you're the hustler, the dreamer, the one chasing opportunities. People root for you because you're still climbing. But after $100,000, the climb looks different. You're not at the top, but you're no longer at the bottom either. You've proven something, and proof makes people react in unexpected ways. Some will celebrate you. They'll say, "I knew you could do it." They'll be inspired, motivated, proud. Others will question you. They'll wonder how you did it, if you got lucky, if you deserve it. And a few will quietly resent you, because your success reminds them of what they haven't achieved yet. That's the social game. It's not about the money itself. It's about perception. People project their own fears, hopes, and insecurities onto your success. And you'll feel it. You'll notice the subtle changes in conversations, the way people talk to you, the way they treat you. Here's the challenge. You have to learn to navigate it. You can't control how others react, but you can control how you respond. Do you let envy pull you down? Do you let praise inflate your ego? Or do you stay grounded, remembering that $100,000 is just a milestone, not the finish line? The social game is tricky because it tests your character. It forces you to balance confidence with humility, success with gratitude. It reminds you that money doesn't just buy freedom, it buys attention. And attention can be both a gift and a burden. The truth is, the game changes not only in your bank account, but in your relationships. And how you handle that change will define whether your success lasts or fades. Part 5, the illusion of success. Here's the trap. $100,000 feels like victory, but it's not the finish line. It's just the first checkpoint. Many people hit that number and think they've made it. They celebrate, they relax, they start believing the hard part is over. But the truth? The game only gets harder after $100,000. Because now you have something to lose. Before $100,000, you're climbing with nothing in your pockets. Every dollar is progress. Every step feels like survival. But once you cross that line, the pressure changes. You're no longer worried about getting money. You're worried about keeping it. And that's a different kind of stress. The illusion of success is dangerous because it makes you complacent. You start spending more freely, thinking the money will always be there. You start believing you're untouchable, that you've cracked the code. But $100,000 is not wealth. It's stability. And stability can vanish if you stop paying attention. Here's the reality. The habits that got you to $100,000 are not the same habits that will take you to $1 million. Hustle alone won't cut it anymore. You need strategy, discipline, and vision. You need to protect what you've built while planning for what's next. The illusion whispers, "You've won." But the truth shouts, "You've only started." Crossing $100,000 is proof that you can play the game and win. But if you stop there, if you let comfort replace ambition, you'll fall back. The game doesn't end at 6 figures. It evolves. And only those who see past the illusion keep moving forward. Part 6, strategy over hustle. Before $100,000, hustle is everything. You wake up early, stay up late, grind through weekends, and push yourself harder than anyone else. Hustle is the fuel that gets you off the ground. It's what proves you're willing to fight for your place in the game. But after $100,000, hustle alone won't cut it anymore. The rules change. The game demands more than sweat. It demands strategy. Think about it. Hustle is about effort, but strategy is about direction. You can run faster, but if you're running in circles, you'll never move forward. At $100,000, you realize that working harder isn't the answer. Working smarter is. This is where leverage comes in. Instead of trading time for money, you start looking for ways to multiply your efforts. Investments, systems, partnerships. These are the tools that turn hustle into growth. You stop asking, "How can I work more hours?" and start asking, "How can I make my hours worth more?" The shift from hustle to strategy is uncomfortable because it forces you to let go of control. Hustle feels safe. You know that if you push harder, you'll get results. Strategy feels risky. You have to trust systems, trust people, trust the process. But that's the only way to scale. Here's the truth. Hustle gets you to $100,000, but strategy takes you beyond it. Hustle builds the foundation, but strategy builds the future. And if you don't make that shift, you'll burn out. You'll hit a ceiling where no amount of effort can push you further. The game changes because now you're not just a worker, you're a player. You're not just grinding, you're planning. And the ones who master strategy are the ones who keep climbing, while the hustlers stay stuck at the same level. Part 7, the emotional roller coaster. Money doesn't erase fear. It only changes its shape. Before $100,000, your worries are simple but heavy. Rent, bills, groceries, emergencies. You live with the constant tension of, will I make it through this month? Every unexpected expense feels like a storm. But after $100,000, those storms calm down and new ones appear. Instead of worrying about paying rent, you worry about protecting your savings. Instead of stressing over groceries, you stress over taxes. Instead of fearing debt collectors, you fear bad investments. The problems don't disappear, they evolve. This is the emotional roller coaster of money. You feel relief, yes, but also responsibility. You celebrate freedom, but you also carry weight. Because now, every decision feels bigger. Every choice has consequences not just for survival, but for growth. And here's the paradox. The more money you have, the more you realize how fragile it can be. A wrong move, a bad investment, a careless expense, and suddenly the security you fought for feels shaky again. That's why emotions run high. You're not just managing money, you're managing fear, hope, and expectation. The roller coaster comes with highs too. Confidence grows. You feel proud, accomplished, capable. You start believing in yourself in ways you never did before. But with those highs come lows, doubt, anxiety, pressure, because now the stakes are higher. The truth is, money doesn't buy peace of mind. It buys a new set of challenges. And learning to ride that emotional roller coaster without letting fear or pride control you is part of the game. Part 8, redefining priorities. Crossing the $100,000 mark doesn't just change your bank account. It changes your questions. Before, your priorities are simple. Pay the bills, cover the rent, keep the lights on. Every choice is about survival. But after $100,000, survival is no longer the main concern. You start asking bigger, deeper questions. What do I actually want? Am I chasing money or am I chasing meaning? Is this lifestyle sustainable or am I just running in circles? That's the moment when priorities shift. You stop measuring success by how much you earn and start measuring it by how much freedom you feel. You realize that money is not the end goal, it's the tool. And tools are meant to build something bigger. For some, that means building a business. For others, it means creating memories, traveling, spending time with family. For many, it means investing in growth, not just financial growth, but personal growth. Because once you're no longer trapped in the cycle of scarcity, you finally have the space to think about who you want to become. This redefinition of priorities is powerful because it forces you to confront yourself. You can't hide behind excuses anymore. You can't say, I don't have enough. You do. And now the question is, what will you do with it? The game changes because money stops being the finish line and becomes the starting point. It's not about chasing more for the sake of more. It's about aligning your resources with your values. It's about building a life that feels true to you. And here's the truth. $100,000 won't give you all the answers, but it gives you the freedom to ask the right questions. And those questions are what shape the next chapter of your journey. Part 9, the bigger picture. At the end of the day, $100,000 is not about the money. It's about perspective. Crossing that line proves something powerful. You can play the game and win. And once you know you can win, you start playing differently. You stop thinking small. You stop doubting yourself. You begin to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is about freedom, yes, but also about responsibility. It's about realizing that money is not the destination. It's the vehicle. It's the tool that allows you to build, to grow, to create. And once you understand that, the game becomes less about chasing numbers and more about designing a life. Here's the truth. $100,000 doesn't make you rich. It makes you capable. It gives you proof that discipline, hustle, and vision work. It shows you that the impossible is possible. And that realization changes everything. The bigger picture is not about comparing yourself to others. It's not about showing off or proving your worth. It's about asking, what do I want to build with this? Do I want to create security for my family? Do I want to invest in my future? Do I want to chase experiences, memories, or impact? That's why the game changes. Because once you see the bigger picture, you stop playing for survival and start playing for legacy. You stop thinking about the next paycheck and start thinking about the next generation. The $100,000 mark is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where money is no longer the enemy, but the ally. A chapter where the real challenge is not earning, but creating. Not surviving, but thriving. And that's the bigger picture, realizing that the game was never just about money. It was about freedom, choice, and the power to design the life you want.